I know a lot of fans are out there probably going, well, you got 2 rock songs, everything else, we already know what it's going to sound like.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm telling you, let me tell you, this is the heaviest record we've ever done.
Heavy is the crowd.
What's up?
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. Hope you are.
I am well. I'm actually, we're battling all the cottonwood trees shedding their undercoat down here, so my voice sounds a little raspy today. That's just how it is. That's Mother Nature taking its toll on me.
Well, I'm a great sufferer of the allergies, so yeah. I feel you, man. We were just in Florida on vacation. I felt amazing. Come back to Nashville and I'm like, I think I'm allergic to Tennessee, period. Like my throat closes up. I can't, it's all scratchy. I'm sneezing all over the place. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, we've gone through this past year, like wearing masks too. And it's like, man, I've been a whole year without having to deal with all this stuff. It's been great. And then I take it off for a couple of weeks and it's like, oh, bam. Okay. Allergies are still.
Yeah.
Well, how are you, man? How are things?
Man, I'm great. I'm great. Busier than ever. Life is good. Everybody's healthy. Yeah, man. Excited to, get back to work.
Yeah, you even in the time off that everybody's had, during the pandemic, you have definitely not stopped moving, stopped doing stuff because you've been working on new music, obviously. We'll get to that. You've been working on some other video, like film projects that we'll get to in a second. But I mean, like, you have not stopped moving through this whole time. Like, I think you might have a working problem. You need to, like, chill out for a second, maybe.
Yeah, it is certainly, it's one of those things where I think I was home for the first time in, like, for this long in like 15 years. And I completely got away from it all. I was building Lego Batmobiles and shit.
Yeah.
And planting gardens and raising chickens. And then I was like, who am I? Like, what is happening here?
You grew the beard. Now you got the farmer beard. Like, that's your life now. That's how, yeah.
And then, we had started working on the record, but man, after a while, I started just like getting laser focused on the project for the first time. I was able to like think about what kind of videos I want to make, and not be like, oh, it's time to make a video. And then we send out submit treatments and go, we'll just pick the one that sucks the least. And, I've been able to like be as involved as I've ever been.
That's very cool. Well,
it's a little all consuming, to be honest.
Well, you have had a very diverse career up till now. You were obviously on American Idol. That's probably where the majority of people will say, oh, that's where I remember Daughtry from.
Yeah.
That's not what you're beholden to. I mean, you've had this record label with RCA since then, which actually you just that contract is now over with, right? Are you an independent artist now?
I completed a record contract. One of very few bands to do that. Yeah, I'm independent, and it's been like the best thing ever. I'm super grateful for everything that RCA did for me, and all the records we put out together. But there's some liberation in the freedom for sure.
While you were on RCA, it seemed like a lot of the music you were putting out, like, I know you're a rock guy. We've seen the conversations with you. You're a rock guy. You've worked with, the guys from Theory of a Dead Man, Chad Kroeger from Nickelback. You've worked with Lajon a couple times now from Seven Dust. Like, you're through and through a rock guy. But it seems like the music that Daughtry has put out over the past 10 years or so has kind of slipped in and out of a number of different genres. Like, was that kind of by design, or like, what was that?
I think it was a few things. I think one, we had a lot of top 40 success on that first record. Aside from all the rock tracks, we had songs that crossed over and did really well. And then the label was like, ooh, that's where we need to be focused. And,
right.
Then we put out a second record still trying to lean on those guitars a bit. And once again, the songs that crossed over did really well. And then we kind of dug in our heels and was like, we're making a rock record. We did break the spell, and it didn't do as well. And then as each record happened, we would have a different A&R person. For anybody out there that isn't, it's the person who basically is overseeing the project at the label.
Right.
And after, I think, Leave This Town, we had a different A&R person every time. And within that, we had people that didn't quite get us, and we were getting advice from people who, hey, this is my idea of what Daughtry should be. And you start to hear these voices, and then your own management is going, well, these guys aren't playing guitars anymore either. If you want to stay on the radio and you want to stay relevant, we got to have to change with the times. And, there's a part of me that was like, yeah, we got to, nobody ever did the same record twice. I'm about that. And I grew up on pop, and I'm a sucker for a good melody. So I was all about experimenting, and then the record, Baptized, it started one way and then morphed into something completely different. And I think that was something that made everybody go, the hell y'all doing? But with that being said, we had great success with Waiting for Superman. And then the next record, I'm like, no, damn it, we're doing a rock record. We're doing it. And we got Jakir King, and we're like, who did, Kings of Leon and Modest Mouse. And we got this cool, hip rock producer, and we're going to get all this street cred and new A&R person. and then they go, yeah, but we want you to do these two songs that you didn't write. Like you got some good stuff here, but if you do these two songs, we'll play ball. You're gonna have two major hits out of this, and you do this, we're gonna be pushing it. We're gonna be pounding it, the pavement hard, and we're gonna put Daughtry back on top. All right, those two songs slightly changed the production feel of the entire record.
Right.
Jakir wasn't happy. We were kind of like, but hey, we're team players here. It was the last record with RCA, and that record came out, and it's still got some rock stuff, but it was slightly tainted by, what the record label was pushing.
Right.
And record contract is up. I take a back seat and go, what do I want to do? Like, what kind of record do I want to make? Who do I want to work with? I got nobody in my ears now. I got new management. I got new agents. I got rid of everybody.
Clean house, starting all over for Chris Daughtry.
Clean house. What do I want? What are the records that made me want to even do this in the first place? And I started listening to those records like Facelift and, Dirt. Super Unknown and Bad Motorfinger, all these, 90s records that made me want to be a rock singer in the first place. And I started getting excited again. I started listening to these records. I'm like, holy shit, what am I doing? This is what made me feel alive in the first place. This is, Throwing Copper, Secret Samadhi, all these records that made me want to be a singer-songwriter. And I was like, I don't care what these songs do. I don't care about making songs that fit this format or songs that's going to cater to, singles or radio or whatever. I just want to make something that I can look back, and if I'm watching me on stage, I'm super proud, and that's cool. And that's the kind of shit that made me want to do this in the first place.
Right.
And I got, Scott Stevens, from the Exies, who I've been working with for many records now, but I got him and Marty Fredrickson. We've all written together a lot for previous records, but I felt like they got me as a rock artist, and they understood me as a person, and they knew the kind of record that I wanted to make, and I didn't have anybody at a label saying, "No, they're not big enough to produce your record. We need somebody else."
Right.
And it's been the most fulfilling project of my entire career. Every single song is just bleeds my heart and soul, and we've been doing mixes every day this past week. And man, I cannot wait. I know a lot of fans are out there probably going, "Well, you got 2 rock songs. Everything else, we already know what it's going to sound like."
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm telling you, let me tell you, this is the heaviest record we've ever done.
I was going to bring that up, World on Fire, which I see you wearing the shirt for that. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
World on Fire, then Heavy is the Crown. We got both these tracks, and it's like, this is, we've always heard you kind of dabble in it, and it's always been clear that rock has been an influence in what you do for music. This is quite possibly the firmest footprints that I think we've heard you set into the rock and hard rock arena.
Yeah.
And I think it's got people in the rock world, pretty excited about hearing what's coming up next with you.
Man, it's really, that was, there was a hesitation, not in regards to making the record, but I didn't know if we were going to be embraced again. There was this fear, like, "Oh, it's Daughtry, man. They're trying, but we all know what kind of art, and it's been open arms across the board. And it's such a good feeling. It feels more home to me than ever. And to have that support, and guys like Lejean and Morgan, posting stuff about our songs, and guys in Shinedown, it's they're all buddies of mine, but to see that brand supporting this brand to their fans is a really, really fucking cool thing, man. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
Oh no, you're fine. No, okay. You're all good. No, we're recording. It's all good.
but yeah, it's the record I've been wanting to make ever since I was a 16-year-old kid, and I cannot wait for everybody to hear the rest of it.
So do we have a name and a release yet, or are you still working on that?
I do, and I do.
But we don't get both to know that yet, right?
Right. we're because the second I do, something's gonna come up that gets in the way of that release date, and then I'm a liar.
You don't want to fall into the trap that like the Offspring ran into. They're like, "Oh yeah, we got a new record. Oh, we got it." And then like 8 years later, we're like, "Where's the record, Offspring? Come on." I was just talking to Noodles about that like a few months ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." He even said it on stage at a show in Wichita. He was like, "Yeah, I got a new record coming out." That was 3 years ago. So
yeah, it's called Chinese Democracy. It's coming out soon.
It's called Saint Anger. You're gonna love it. The snare drum sounds amazing. So we've got these 2 new songs from you, World on Fire, which we got. It was like September, I think, in 2020. Yeah, and that was kind of our first taste into the indie artist as Daughtry, rock artist. And now we have Heavy's the Crown. We got the 2 music videos for this too. First video really set a tone, I think, for what I envision is going to be your vision for what's coming forward. And then we got the video for Heavy's the Crown. Are you turning yourself into a superhero? Like, is that what's happening right now?
I mean, why not? Right? Nobody else is going to do it for me. So, Marvel and DC ain't calling. So I figure, why not? I'm going to give myself powers and save the world. But when we were working on, I always had this idea when I started making this record, like, it would be cool to, whatever we do, I want to make sure that all the videos connect. I want it to be like the old 80s cartoons, like to be continued at the end. And I didn't know what that was at the time, but then I was like thinking about this post-apocalyptic vision for World on Fire. And as I'm watching the video, I'm like, I know exactly where this needs to go. Put to be continued at the end. I got this. And I started writing the next video, and there's a whole like concept behind all of it that will, hopefully everyone will get to see on the next single, and maybe a 4th. I don't know if we're doing 3 or 4, but if we're lucky. But yeah, it's it's this whole that's what COVID did to me. It gave me time to like sit there and go, I need superpowers.
I think the majority of us probably said that at some point during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, the concept is all really cool.
It's probably the most expensive video we've ever done. The irony is I didn't have a big label to pay for it.
So this one, like, you're like, yeah, I go out all on my own. All right, let's just spend all the money.
Yeah, my kids are starving now, but the video looks great.
So taking this sound now, this very much in the core of rock music sound, you're going out on tour soon. In fact, we're going to see you next month in Andover for their concert series. How are you going to incorporate kind of this newer, very much in the vein of a hard rock sound with some of the stuff that you've done in the past? Do you think that's going to, I'm sure you have an idea as to how it's all going to work together, but like,
that's a great question. And I've already had the meeting. That's the kind of shit that keeps me up at night, by the way. I was actually talking to a bunch of the guys recently, and I'm like, I think we need to reapproach some of these songs with a slightly different production, and I think they would translate really well. I was even talking about Waiting for Superman, how one of our friends did this. He engineered the record before our last record, and he's a metal dude, and he did this like cool cover of Waiting for Superman in halftime with like just this drop nasty tone guitar, and I was like, that could actually work.
There you go.
We could try to, like, we're definitely going to be experimenting a lot during rehearsals. But yeah, that's a valid question, man. It's and I think it's one of those things where you go, if we were to do that song on this record, what would it sound like? Yeah. And then you approach it that way,
Would you consider, like, if you do go back into your library and find some of these songs and find ways to reimagine them as much more like a hard rock kind of sound, would you consider like taking them and saying, let's put this out like this and see what happens with it?
That could be cool. I haven't thought of it, but that's actually a pretty cool idea.
Like Daughtry Reimagined or something like that.
Yeah, I was literally thinking.
Yeah.
Hard Daughtry.
Wow, that may not go over so well. There'd be some bad websites with that one. I don't know.
Hard Daughtry. Yeah. I like my Daughtry hard.
Yeah. Those are websites. I don't think some people might. Yeah.
I mean, there's I'm sure there's a market for it somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm excited that, like, I know, I've been a fan, for a while. I really have liked your music, and me being, a hard rock guy working in rock radio, I knew that I was like, this just doesn't, it doesn't quite feel like this is what he really, really wants to be doing. And then we've heard these last couple tracks, and I'm just like, that is exactly what I pictured, Chris Daughtry doing. So this has got me now really excited to hear you kind of reimagine some of this stuff on the road, and to get out to the show in Andover too.
Yeah, it's definitely, they would definitely, if we just approach it the original way, it'll stand out like a sore thumb.
You'd be headbanging for 2 or 3 songs and then sit there and just kind of,
Or you just do those songs so stripped down that it's intentionally, something different,
And see, now you're in the realm of, like, you can take the songs that you've already done and crank them up for certain audiences, and then take the songs that you've done now and crank them down for other audiences.
Yep, we're doing a corporate event. Got to go back to the old ways.
Well, your career is also very interesting too. It's not just music. You've been, delving in a lot of other stuff. It's funny you said that DC wasn't calling, because I know for a fact that DC has, sort of. DC has called a little bit.
Yeah.
You're a big comic guy. You do some comic drawing too, and I see all the Batman stuff behind you there. I'm assuming a big Batman fan.
Hate him. Worse. Actually, this is one of the recent pieces we did. I got this print laying on the floor. It's real respectful. But we're selling them on the website. It's one of the pieces that I did recently. It's like a foil. I don't know. It's really cool though. But yeah, I started putting, I was like, man, I got so much artwork that I've just been doing for fun. I feel like the fans have been begging me for it for a while, and we finally put some up for sale on our store. And I'm very fortunate that DC let me do that.
Yeah. Well, oh, go ahead.
But DC calls all the time. Warner Brothers has not. they're the ones doing the movies. But yeah, man, I love that world. That was like my first love, so to speak, as a kid. Man, I wanted to be a comic book artist, and then I wanted to be Van Damme, and and then I found music. So well, and I like doing it. I don't do it enough though.
You've also dabbled in a little bit of acting too, and most recently you got a part in what's the group that did the Batman?
Diet? Yeah, Bat in the Sun Productions. They do these fan films, and I know Aaron, the director. I met him through a buddy of mine who actually does these cowls, all the Batman.
Oh wow, yeah.
Masks back there, and he was like, "Hey, man, this was like right in the, maybe the first couple months of, or maybe it was, let's see, it was the first COVID summer, where we thought we were getting ready to go back out, but it didn't happen." And he was like, "Hey, man, I got this cool idea. Would you be willing to be involved in this little short film I'm doing?" And I was in like, "Man, I'm too busy," and I wasn't. I had nothing to do, but I was thinking like, I can't like picture myself flying to LA and doing. He goes, "No, man, I just need you to like shoot it. Like if you've got like the latest iPhone, you can just shoot it on your iPhone in front of a green screen." I'm like, "Word." And we did that, and it took me like an hour to film like 40 seconds of footage, and it turned out really cool, and I'm glad I did it because now I'm in a movie with Michael Madsen.
That's it. Batman Dying is Easy is the name of the film up on YouTube, and I literally just found out about this just by happenstance. I knew I was doing the interview with you today. Found out about it yesterday from a friend of mine who's a Batman fan, and I was like, "Is that?" I saw Hugo Strange, and I was like, "Is that Dodger? Is that Chris?"
That was the reason I grew my beard out.
Really? Okay.
To do that role, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm keeping this."
Yeah,
I worked too hard on it.
I mean, I'm a little biased, but
I just took like 4 inches off of it this morning.
I was going to ask you about your beard regimen. Like, do you do the oils, the shampoo, everything, the balm?
All of it.
I'm very jealous of good beards because mine ends up, even if I put attention to it in the morning, it looks like some barren swamp by the end of the day. It doesn't matter what the weather's like.
Honestly, I spend too much time on it. My OCD kicks in. I'm like, "No, I got to get that other side. Oh man, I got to get that other side. No, just fuck that side up."
But yeah, that's really cool, man. That you showed up in that film, and I haven't had a chance to watch it all the way through yet. But I was like,
cool. It turned out great, man. It's like 22 minutes. Check it out.
Yeah. I'll have to do that I'll do that this afternoon when I'm on air, like between voice breaks, I'll just
there you go.
Stop down and watch it.
Awesome,
you're no stranger to being on screen either, because you were American Idol. You've done roles in TV shows and bits and stuff like that.
Right.
But one of the ones that you did that I knew from the get-go it was you, Rottweiler during Masked Singer. And it's funny because like there are two voices that I have been able to pick out from the very beginning on that show, and they were both the same season. It was you and Wayne Brady on the same season.
It's crazy. We had no idea who was there, which is great because I would have been shitting my pants if I knew I was up against Patti LaBelle and or Seal, all these, and I'm like, we have no idea. We don't even get to hear them. Like,
really?
We're so isolated from all of it. We are, when we're backstage, we're covered from head to toe. Even a lot of the producers, and they don't know who you are either.
Wow.
There's like a select handful of people that work on the show that know who the contestants are. And you're not allowed to talk to anyone because they don't want to hear, your voice to be recognized. And you got to wear loose clothes. They were even covering my ankles. I had like some pants that showed my ankles. They were like, "Nope, pull that up." They didn't even want my color of my skin to show. It was super. That was probably a good good practice for COVID because I had, we had to wear face shields the whole time, like welding masks, and like, you know, those little ski masks you put over your head.
Right.
And it was super weird. And I remember sitting in my costume, and it was like 3 or 4 episodes in, and they were like, we need to film everybody together. And this was my first time seeing all the other contestants in their costumes or whatever. And we can't talk to each other. And we're all just sitting there, and I'm looking around, and I'm in this dog costume, and I'm looking through this like screen, and I'm looking at everybody, and I'm like, this has to be what doing acid is like. This is like this is the craziest shit I've ever done. What am I doing? This is so weird. And everybody's like, you know, not talking and just, it's so crazy.
Now you know what it's like being a mascot all the time, because they can't talk either. So it's like
I have the most respect for mascots ever now. And I'm like, and we got to, you know, we had a few minutes, and then they're like, oh, take him back. You got to let him breathe. Those guys are out there on the fields, like working hard and sweating bullets, and they don't get those breaks.
So are we gonna see Rottweiler at some point on the tour? Are you gonna bust the costume out?
They didn't let me keep it.
Oh, really? No way.
They didn't let me keep it. No.
Not even like a B version of it or anything like that?
No, I was like, man, can I at least take the helmet? And they're like, no, we keep these because they do like these tours where they like go around they do showings or whatever, I guess, for kids or something. I don't know.
Well, I always thought it was funny because like the two voices that I recognized on that show were both you and Wayne Brady. Even up to like this season, I have no idea. This past season, I had no idea who anyone was. But you and Wayne Brady were the two. I was just like, I know that voice. I know exactly.
When I was watching it, I was like, that's Seal. There's no way that's not Seal. I can't believe that I was in the same room with Seal for like.
Were you ever like shocked at some of the guesses that the judges had for you?
Yeah, Gavin Rossdale was definitely. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Jared Leto, I think they there was one that I was like, okay, was it? Someone said Pitbull.
That might have been Ken. That might have been
Ken. Maybe it was Ken. Yeah. That was because of the Maneater.
Right.
But yeah, it was interesting. I think there was one time that Jenny actually said my name, and they cut that out of the show.
Well, let me wrap this up just real quick, man. I want to say, thank you for the time, obviously. And
absolutely, man. Thanks for talking to me.
We didn't get to hit the Lejean song that you did, the Hunger Strike, with
dude,
him.
Yes.
But definitely an awesome track.
Yes, I'm so pumped at how that came out. I was like, dude, I've been wanting to do this song forever. Can you figure out some time where you can track a vocal? And he was like, dude, I'll do it next week. And we fast tracked that song. We had to fly everybody in from out of town to come record the song in the studio. And but yeah, I'm glad you dug it, man. It turned out great.
No, it's really good. I think we're hearing a nice, from the rock standpoint, a nice trend for what we really want to hear from Daughtry. And man, I'm super excited to hear when and if this album comes out. I know you're not going to tell me, but when it comes out.
It is this year. It is this year.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
we've at least got that confirmed.
Yes, that is a definite.
Awesome. Well, we're stoked to hear it, man.
Brother. Good
excited
to hear
it,
man. Thank you,
dude. Thank you so much. Good talking to you, Chris.
Thank you. Hey, you too, brother. Later.